This is how Black women are dying. That's what our next guest, Caitlin Joshua, told reporters before Louisiana's Republican Governor Jeff Landry signed into law a bill that adds mifepristone and misoprostol, two medications commonly used to end a pregnancy, to the state's list of controlled dangerous substances. Both drugs are often used during miscarriages. And in 2022, Caitlin Joshua, a Louisiana mother, was turned away from 2 emergency rooms and denied treatment after experiencing a miscarriage because Louisiana had enacted a near total abortion ban following the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Caitlin Joshua is now campaigning on behalf of President Biden to remind people across the country that Donald Trump is responsible for the attacks on reproductive rights. Since the fall of Roe, Trump has taken credit for ending the constitutional right to an abortion. And the Republican-appointed Supreme Court justices don't want to stop there. In his concurring opinion to the court's decision to overturn Roe, Justice Thomas wrote, quote, "In future cases, we should reconsider all of this court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold." That's Griswold versus Connecticut, a 1965 Supreme Court decision that protects the rights of married couples to use contraceptives. In April, Donald Trump thanked the justices who overturned the individual's freedom to make their own health care decisions.
I want to thank the 6 justices, Chief Justice John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and Neil Gorsuch, incredible people, for having the courage to allow this long-term, hard-fought battle to finally end.
Joining us now is Caitlin Joshua. She was turned away from 2 emergency rooms while experiencing a miscarriage in Louisiana in 2022, and she was denied treatment because of that state's abortion ban. Caitlin, when I read your story, I was struck by how much fear and pain that you went through to be able to just get through an experience that if medical providers felt comfortable because they felt like they weren't going to be criminally prosecuted for helping you and giving you the medical care you needed, you would have been okay. I had a miscarriage. I was hemorrhaging. They gave me a DNC. That was an option for you if it had been somewhere other than Louisiana. Talk about why it's so important for people to understand that you, me, and countless others, that this is health care, that this is something that's really important so that you don't have to go through this again.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me tonight. I think the issue that we're talking about today is so extremely important. And it's important for women across this country to understand that while you may think you're in a safe state or you're in a safe place, or maybe you're like me and you live under an abortion ban. But all that to say, it is very important for us to get to the polls this fall and fight for these issues on a federal level because our states are not doing the work to protect us as women and in childbearing years. It's extremely important for folks to understand that I myself do not want anybody else to experience what I experienced as a woman living in South Louisiana under an abortion ban, which has certainly made an impact on our maternal health care rates. We've seen studies come out talking about how women, 1 in 3 women in the South during childbirth, postpartum period, or during childbirth, postpartum period, or just in the childbearing years. Am I able to start that over? I'm sorry.
Caitlin, you said something that really was jaw drop. You said folks need answers, not prayers, and that's exactly what I was looking for in that moment. You had to go from an ER to another ER. You're bleeding. You're running the risk of becoming septic. I mean, there's so much going on, and all you wanted was medical answers. You didn't want somebody to pray for you to get better. You needed answers, and yet people were terrified. People in the medical profession were terrified to give you this information. Why is it that a red state like Louisiana, with its very confusing laws that create fear in medical professionals, why is it so important then for people to understand that just because they don't have a red state right now that has a near ban, that because of Dobbs, now the states make these decisions all on their own?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the most valid point to bring up when it comes to my story, helping folks understand. You may think in abortion rights, when folks talk about the word abortion, I think a lot of times their minds run to this idea of women who do not want children or do not want to expand their families. But a lot of times we're looking at states that have an abortion ban. We're dealing with situations where a lot of us do want children, or a lot of us are trying to expand our families. But because of the intersectionality between maternal health care and the abortion bans in our state, it's impossible for us to thrive in a way that's safe and effective for a lot of us that are wanting to grow our families. When we talk about the red tape that abortion bans bring, not only are we looking at the lives of women being lost, but we're not seeing us saving any more babies. And I think a lot of times the abortion bans speak to this potential, or this right to life or pro-life movement that speaks to the potential of growing families and in a healthy way and making sure that babies are safe. But right now we're looking at exponential and disproportionate numbers of women that are losing their lives as a result of these bans. And again, to your point, we're talking about right now states are safe, or have this idea that, you can go to Nevada, or you can go to other states that have full access to maternal health care or abortion care. But what we know is very important. Bans do not work anywhere. And if there's a ban anywhere in this country, none of us are safe. So it's important for us to throw this back to our federal government, allow for President Biden and Vice President Harris to do a good job, and on the second term, being able to just instate laws that protect everyone in this country, not just some in certain states.
Yeah, and to your point, Donald Trump has said that he wants to enact a federal ban. So, forget the Supreme Court saying it becomes a state thing. He wants a federal ban if he gets elected back into the Oval Office. Caitlin Joshua, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm always speechless, but I'm always inspired by the courage of you and others that are willing to share what your journey was, how painful it was, so that we all understand that there are people, there are faces to the stories. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night.